Cool, 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 cool. Hello, 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 people. I think we are live right now. Let's just check. Let's do some quick checks. Call it. Okay, it's still uploading. 72%, 79%. Call it. I still taking some time. Let's just quickly see.
Yeah, looks like we're live on Instagram.
Yeah, yeah. We already have 4 people joining who have joined us. Hello, everyone. Please tell us where you're from. Hello, hello, hello. Mega, we can share the communications for everybody. Hey, hi, Binny. Binny is from Mumbai. Binny, do you own a restaurant chain or how is it? Let's keep this chat section as interactive as possible. We'd want Viresh to answer all your questions. I think he'd be the perfect person to help you out with whatever is happening during the festive season. So, need more people to answer and ask a lot of questions. Hey, Binny, what is the name of your restaurant? And I think we're live on LinkedIn as well. Give me 1 second. I think we're facing a few issues there. Are you able to hear us clearly? Viresh, can you speak something so that
Yeah.
that people can tell us whether they can hear us?
Yeah, sure. Hi guys, let me know if you can hear me clearly. Just drop in a thumbs up in the chat and we'll know if the audio is clear for you guys and yeah, we're ready. Perfect. So we've got a couple of
We've got a couple of people on Instagram Live. I'm just logging into our uh, YouTube as well to check how many people are live there. Got it. I think we're getting uploaded on. Hi, Sama. Who can't you hear? Is it me or is it Viresh? Viresh, can you speak a little?
yeah, hi everyone. Just let us know if you can hear me clearly. If the audio is perfect on your end, just give us a quick perfect in the chat and we'll know that it's absolutely clear for you guys and we can kickstart today's live.
Got it. I think without wasting anybody else's time, let's begin this power pack session. Viresh, first of all, thank you so much for doing this with us. I feel it is my absolute pleasure to be talking to you. You've changed the digital marketing game in the Goa region. I think you've redefined how restaurants do digital marketing there. And given people kind of earlier used to think that Goa is just an area for tourist destination, they might not need those services. You've kind of redefined the space for the F&B folks there. And you have really carved a strong niche of yourself. You've been following your pages. Even your own page has a lot of, a lot of following. And we have a few people who have joined in. We have Spirited Shruti, we have Sama, and a lot of keep putting in your questions, folks. So Viresh, this particular session I was super excited to do with you because we wanted to talk about a few growth hacks that restaurant owners can implement today that would help them in their entire journey. I think the festival season has started, and now is the best time to actually work on that. So a quick introduction for people who do not know about Viresh. Viresh has carved a strong niche for himself in the food and business industry. He's worked with numerous restaurant, cafes, and hospitality brands, and he has helped them grow through impactful digital strategies. He owns an agency called as Growth Gravy. If you have not followed them, go down, follow them right now. They have delivered digital marketing, social media, influencer campaigns across the F&B space, and he's also the creator behind Food of Goa, a page that a lot of you must have seen and must have loved. So if you are anybody from the page, please put us a heart or thumbs up so that we know you from that following as well. And he has been a thought leader in the space who talks about how restaurants could succeed. So thank you so much for joining in, Viresh. I'm super excited for today.
Pleasure, pleasure. Thank you so much for that introduction. I think it's awesome to be here, and I think with Relo having transformed the loyalty scene in India, and I've seen it firsthand in Goa as a customer, as someone from the industry working with restaurants. It's awesome to sort of do this session with you guys, and hope that our audience can benefit, and even if they can take in one or two hacks, strategies, or anything that can benefit them through this session. I think it'll be a fun evening and valuable for us as well.
Music to my ears. So, Viresh, my very first question to you is that you scaled brands across industries, like we've already mentioned. When it comes to restaurants during festivals, what do you think is the biggest growth mistakes that you see brands make every single year?
Yeah. So what I see is that a lot of times inside brands, whether it's a standalone restaurant, whether it's a F&B outlet within a very established hotel, or if it's like a cafe, unless the entire decision making, the ops, the creation of menu and the marketing relies on, let's say, the main founder in case of a small setup, uh, it gets difficult for teams to understand what each one's doing, and then working in silos is one of the factors which I think teams really need to overcome when they are trying to collectively add together. When I say that, it means when you have like a chef, you have a ops head, you've got the marketing team, or the owner, or the general manager. So getting all of them together on the same page while you're planning something, while you're deciding something, so that essentially when your team is putting out something in communicating to your customers, whether it's on your social platforms, or whether it's like telling their fans or their customers through different mediums, ensuring that that same experience gets delivered across, when it's at the outlet, when the customer is coming in, that same piece of advertising that you do to pull in that customer, that experience that you promise them, ensuring that that happens, and if not that, at least better than that, because that's what ultimately will drive positive feedback, and that again circles back into repeat customers. So yeah, I think the biggest sort of attention which everyone needs to pay is to getting the teams together. A simple, quick stand-up meeting, or like a if the teams are remotely working, marketing, ops, getting them on that table, getting them on the same page is I think the most important before you kickstart anything. So yeah.
Got it. So this is for everybody. Let us know if you're comfortable with English so that we are able to communicate in the same language. Everybody is open. Everybody is okay with English. You can drop a thumbs up if you're okay with the language. Perfect. So, Viresh, I feel, and I completely agree with you that a stand-up call and aligning your team, like, is basically step zero to maybe, succeeding during the festive season. What do you think are the 4 or 5 activities that any restaurant owner should do to be able to start off with that?
Yes, I think some of the activities is like, let's say we're talking about the festive season, right? So, aligning your entire calendar for the upcoming, 3 months, 4 months, so that everyone knows, okay, when we've got, let's say, Diwali coming in, or when we've got Christmas coming in, or when we've got some other festival that's maybe locally popular for you, getting the entire calendar sorted so that your marketing teams can plan in advance, they can drop in their ideas, your chef's team, if they want to introduce some special, some seasonal stuff that they would like to introduce and they would like to bring in, doing that sort of a collective effort on that front is something that will really push things forward. So yeah, like I would say, get your marketing calendar sorted. Don't just plan for 15 days or month, or say, okay, Diwali is in a week's time, now what do we do? I think that will put unnecessary pressure on all the teams, including your chef's team, including your marketing team, including your ops team, and it's great to work under pressure, but it's always better to have things lined up, prepped well, do your trials in call in your customers for your trials. I don't know why a lot of people, why a lot of cafes, restaurants, they don't do this. They'll announce it on their socials. They'll do a little bit of trials among themselves, but I'm a big believer that let your customers come in and try, let them feel special. Don't just do invites to bloggers and food bloggers, but invite your actual customers. Let them just try in, or if they're already coming in, send a quick tasting item to them, to let collect that feedback from them about whether this is good, whether they like it, whether it's interesting, and they'll feel special. And ultimately, when you make your customers feel special, I think you've built a better relationship than 90% other outlets or places that they visit. So that's what I would just sort of add in on that.
So tell me one thing, how early should somebody be planning their festival marketing calendars? Given that we are already in a stage that Diwali is right around the corner, what is the time that you feel that now we need to start?
I would say aligning at least 3 months in advance, planning your calendar 3 months in advance is ideal. And of course, if you want to get in, like lock in the dishes, do your trials. Like the planning should begin, well in advance. When I say well in advance, your October, November, December should be planned in before you kickstart those 3 months. And now that we're in October, let's talk from here. So once you align now what is in it for your customers from the period of, let's say, November to Jan. So you've got a 3 month lined up. You've got your specials that you want to brainstorm on. Get your chefs team on board. Let them talk about what they want to do. Your marketing team might come up with something and say that, listen, this is really trending. A lot of restaurants are doing this. Why not introduce this? And that's when that you can actually put down. And once everyone's on the same page, then you go and then let the individual folks do their jobs. Let the menu be flushed out by the teams and presented, and try whatever plating options you would like. Think of how you can make people not only enjoy it but also talk about it. So then that process kicks in from there. Like before your Diwali, you've got maybe 1 to 10 days prior. You ensure that you do your food tasting. You ensure if any new additions are being added. I mean, if you can't always add new things, I know it's operationally heavy, and the marketing folks like me would always say, do this new, do this new. But at the end of it, I know for a restaurant owner to keep, introducing something new, there's a lot that goes in beyond behind the scenes, right? So if that's not possible, figure a way how you can package things differently and let that feel like a special to the customer. You may not need to do a complete new menu, but if you can do in, let's say, one additional dessert, which is a special, which is or it's a cocktail, or it's a coffee, whatever it is that you would like to do in, you can roll that out at least 10 days prior as a tasting to your own folks, to your customers. Get that feedback. If they can talk about it, that's the best, right? Because before you even release that at your establishment, you've got folks talking about it, you've got your own customers talking about it, and there's nothing better than having your customer talk about what you've got to offer, right? I mean, that honestly beats any food blogger, any big lifestyle magazine talking about you. I mean, you may be featured on the 50th page in a small quote on one of the big magazines out there, but if you've got your customers really talking about you, I think that's going to bring in way more influence to your outlet.
Makes a lot of sense. And given that, there's so much planning involved, what do you think that restaurants should do to better manage their staff? Because there's going to be festive rush. And we all have seen that, those are the peak hours or peak months or peak days for the restaurant owners, right? So you already need to handle everything on the back end, on the front end. But how do you also ensure that the experience across the board, across the restaurant remains the same? How do you manage operations accordingly?
Yeah. So I think the best way is, if you know that certain days is going to be a peak time for you, or you are estimating that, okay, we are going to have a lot of walk-ins or a lot of reservations, start putting a deadline on your stories, or on your communications, whether it's through whatever mediums, whether it's Instagram, whether it's your own WhatsApp broadcast to your customers. let them know that you're accepting reservations for these days, and say that you know, if you've got a big table, if you've got a big group that wants to come in and celebrate, let us know in advance so we can do something special for you. So align your bookings beforehand. If that is something that you can take care of, then I think you'll be better prepped, and you can actually try and, you know, if there are extra guests coming in on those days, you can figure out whether you have the capacity to do that 10x, to, you know, 10 tables more, yes or no, or how can you prepare your team that's taking reservations to convince that group to come in and dine on a different time slot, on a different date, because that also takes a skill, right? I mean, most of the times when you call up a restaurant to do a reservation, you'll have someone picking up who may not be well equipped to really, you know, battle those tough questions, and
Correct.
rather than just saying sorry we are sold out and, you know, putting down the call. I think there's so much that can be done. There's a great way that you can convert that customer, and let them feel that yes, it's a busy place, I need to book in advance, but they also treat me like I'm someone special. They don't just, you know, because they're full, they're not gonna, because let's face it, you as a restaurant or a cafe, you might have the busiest of crowds on 2 or 3 days, but if you, for because of those 3 days, if you're turning down a lot of customers, and I'm not just saying turning down for not being able to take them to your restaurant, but what I mean by that is turning them down by leaving an impression that, oh, this restaurant doesn't care about me. I think that's the biggest damage that you can easily avoid if your teams are trained well and they know that, okay, if a guest can't make it, how do you convince them to, you know, come in and join us on a different date, or give them a reason that, okay, I know it's a festive season, we've got you know, it's difficult at this moment because it's last minute, but we want to do something special for you. This is what we have coming up, maybe tomorrow, maybe day after. So expand your specials menu and don't just limit it for those 3 days or 4 days or one day, but let your customers get to try that throughout. You know, at least give it a 10-day window, give it a 7-day window, so that, I know you want to promote and you want the guests to come in on those special days, but also take into consideration if you're really sold out, or if you've got, you know, a powerhouse, you can still value the other guests that are coming in by ensuring they get their tables on different days. So yeah, I think that's what I would say for that.
That's a very great insight. I really feel that, the time during the festive season is one of the times you can show your customers that, we still care for you. Hospitality industry is based on the word hospitality.
Exactly.
So as long as that is taken care of, I feel that, people will feel valued. So on the same topic of being valued and being rewarded, what do you feel about loyalty programs, or, because everyone is running one of offers after the other during festive season, whether it is your retails or your customers, sorry, or your restaurant brands. Uh, what I've seen with your brand in general is, and the brands that you are working with, you always work on long-term value rather than very short-term gains, right? How do you think that restaurants can stop the discount traffic during the festive season and maybe create a very long-term growth that is not just fetching them a lot of value and revenue during the festive season, but even after that?
Right. So let's face it, right? I mean, any outlet, any sale that you witness, whether it's on, you know, the big billion days, or whether it's these big discounts that happen even in the F&B industry, uh, it's it does pinch ultimately the restaurant owner or the business owner to be able to afford that, you know, big dip in their revenues. I know some of them smartly do it. They'll give in, let's say, a complimentary X, you know, whatever that is, whether it's a addition, a dish, dessert, and they'll try to like balance it out from that point of view. But from a long-term perspective, I don't think I would go back to a restaurant just because I see an offer on an app, right? Yes, if I see an offer from an outlet that I really like going, and I know that they are good, then it would definitely encourage me. But what I've noticed is a lot of good outlets, a lot of you know, established outlets, they avoid doing discounting because that naturally sends that perception to your customers or your prospective customers that these guys need to do discount to attract customers. So it's a very difficult situation where, you know, how, yes, you want to pull in that discount to get new customers, but at the same time, if your branding is takes a hit, it's very difficult to rebuild it, right? I mean, then your existing customers will always, then they'll wait, they'll be like, let me see when is the next offer coming in, and then accordingly schedule the visit, rather than making it about how special I will be treated, or what different I can experience at this restaurant if I go there and I celebrate my birthday, or things that come around it. So I would say owning your database is the biggest benefit that you can get, and I know a lot of platforms do not allow that, including social media, including restaurant discovery platforms when you do dining, and when you do delivery takeaways as well. But if you can own your database, I think you can reach out to your customers throughout, and that's what ultimately loyalty is, right? I mean, if you are in touch with your customers, yes, a lot of times they might forget about you because they've got a lot of options out there. But if there's a way for you to reach back to them, when you're doing a specials, when you're doing something, for the festive season, you want to trials, target that campaign to someone who's not come to your outlet, let's say in the last 2 or 3 months, right? And I don't think you can do this sort of targeting manually on Excel sheets, or it's very difficult, because you need to have a solid system which can tell you that, okay, this customer, this is the total billing this customer has done, this is when the last time the customer came in, and according to that, you can then reach out to them, get them back to your outlet, and that system really powers you to make informed decisions, to come up with smart campaigns. And yeah, I think it's way more valuable than just rolling out 50% or a 40% off on a blanket off to everyone, because that's not specific, that's just making you sound desperate, and it's, I don't think helping you play the long term game well.
Got it. So help me bust a myth, Viresh. And we also have somebody who has asked us, which is Laksh. She's asked, do you work with franchisees as well? Now, why am I asking this question in relation to this? Is there's a big myth that bigger restaurants can afford to not run discounts. Bigger restaurants, they have all the money in the place. Bigger restaurants, XYZ. But do you think that today the franchisees, smaller restaurants, they also have the power to put their foot down and say no, we'll not run without discount, we're looking for long term growth?
Hmm. I think you've see, ultimately it all depends on the competition as well, right? In every area the dynamics are different. Every city the dynamics are different, and it is not easy to say I will not, that I'll hold my foot down and I'll not give discounts, I'll not pull in, because like you said, for franchisees, they've got the money, they've got the cash. Probably for a small independent outlet, they may not have those heavy budgets to go in and say that we'll do the discounts. So why not target it effectively, right? When I say target, don't run a blanket offer to everyone, run it to a specific audience that you really want. Even socials, you can run an ad campaign, you can target specifically those audiences, those users, and do it for limited amount of time, like do it limited amount of time, limited amount of people. So instead of broadcasting it to everyone that you've got this running, broadcast it to a small target group. Now that target group could be even customers who come and not been to your place for the last 3 months. You know that they've come to you, they know where you are, so that that hiccup is not there to like figuring out how to reach there, how to get there. And because they've gone there, there is a familiarity already in their mind that, okay, I know a basic level of what I'm going to expect. So, and the fact that they've not come back could be various reasons, right? And the one that all of us would fear is that maybe something went wrong and that's why they've not come in. So to give a discount to that sort of a customer, I think will be very more effective compared to just giving out 50% off to someone who's never ever like thought about you, and you're just doing it so that customers probably attracted to the 50% and not to what you have to offer, right? So tomorrow there's another restaurant offering that person's just going to move away and go to that outlet. So you are taking the hit in the short term to afford a customer, to you're paying this amount to get this customer in, but is that really helping you play the long term game? Are you here only to show that a restaurant is filled today by these 20 people who come in for 50%, or would you rather want 10 people coming in on an everyday basis to actually pay what you feel your product deserves. So that's the question you need to ask yourself before really going and playing the discount game. And I understand that sometimes you have to do it. Sometimes you've got to do it to be competitive. If everyone in your region is doing it and you're not doing it, or maybe you want to get some other benefit that any of these campaigns are giving you, then maybe you could consider it. But if possible, play the long term game. If possible, target offers specifically to a small group, whether it's through socials, and you can put a cap to it, right? You can just say first 10 people only get this. So that's also putting in a small cap, and then the remaining folks can understand that, okay, it's maxed out at 10 people. So you've got that minimum group sitting in your restaurant. So you're happy that, okay, you've not missed out on something. At the same time, you've not really broadcasted this to everyone. You've got other folks who are also coming in and trying out your product. So
Got it. So, ideally, we also have Sunny who has asked us, is it suitable for the very first outlet that I've also launched?
running, what's the question, Sunny? Can you
So
help us
we're
understand a
talking
little more?
about running, if the
Discount.
no discount growth for everybody, right? So
Mhm.
running discount on a very small set of audience of how this is.
Yeah, so if you're opening an outlet for the first time and you want to consider from that point of view, I think you can run a launch offer, because a launch offer is very different compared to an existing establishment which is constantly giving offers to people to come into their outlet, right? Because it's your launch offer, you can mention that. Like you can, for your launch offer, you can even say that first, 100 cocktails are on the house. So that's immediately getting in people. So you're not giving a blanket discount on everything. Maybe you're giving a coffee complimentary to whoever comes in, or you're giving a dessert complimentary to someone who's coming in. And you limit that. You say that first 50 people, first 100 people. So you know that for the first 3 days, let's say you run this campaign for your new outlet for the first 3 days, and you've not maybe even opened it to public, right? But this is something free, and only the people who've actually claimed this offer, let's say on socials, or they've called you, or you send out some sort of communication, they've got a little piece of flyer. I know it's a very old school way, but if they've got some sort of communication, whether it's offline or online, and they come to you, then you know, okay, that this, so for the first 3 4 days or for the first 1 week, you've got a packed house, at least of those 100 people for whom you've only promised one specific item. Now, yes, I get it that a lot of people will only come for that one item and go, but they're coming to your outlet. What the perception about your outlet to the people outside who are passing by or who are getting to know is that they're doing well in their launch, right? They've got a good audience coming in regularly. Now, what they don't know is some of them are only, I'm sure, coming in only for a free coffee or a free product, but a lot of them may come in because of the free, or let's say free donut, or whatever you got to offer, but they may want to try something. They may be tempted to try something different. So you've got your display, you've got your menu. Pull your customers using smart strategies of making them order something more. Every time they come to place an order for a specific, let's say the free coffee, convince them to try something new from your menu. Convince them to try something different that you're offering compared to everyone else in your city, right? So that's how you are going to make that first impression. Yes, you are affording maybe 100 coffees free every single day, but if you were to, let's say, roll out an ad in the newspaper to pull in that audience, you would end up spending a bomb, right? So I'm sure 100 coffees is way cheaper than doing an ad in, let's say, a radio campaign or for a day, or a newspaper, spread out, or even like social. So try and do something that puts in a limit to what you can afford to give, so you're mentally prepped. It's not that you put out a free coffee to whoever comes in, and then you've got 1,000 people walking in and then they're like, I can't afford this. So put in a cap, whatever that is, and try and do something different that you know people will like. And that's how you are going to make that first impression. And that's how you are going to make that first impression. Right, so that is something which was which actually was a pretty bad strategy, because on the it sounded very interesting. It sounded like, wow, if I go on their first day, I'm going to get a free donut every year. But the coupon had a limitation which said that you have to come in and order something and then you'll get a free donut. So that means they, in their mind, were trying to put this cap by defining every customer who's going to drop into their store to come in and buy in a new city, for the new outlet. But it backfired on a lot of people because they expected that, okay, if I go and buy in a box of 12 donuts, I'm going to get this offer because I'm the first one to trust them in the new city. And it kind of, backfired. So plan the campaigns well. I'm saying do give out offers, make the communication clear, don't keep it too complicated. I know a lot of people put in offers in the beginning of the loyalty system. They say you spend 400 you'll get something free, then they keep increasing the amount, and that's difficult on customers. I've heard customers complaining about it. So whatever you do, think of the long term game and play that right. Have that vision, do your research, find out what's worked, what's not worked for other launches, other establishments, and I'm sure you can, if you plan this well, you can sort of nail it.
So basically, community and consistency is what people need to take care.
Correct.
Build a community, build loyalty, not just traffic.
Yeah, I think building a community is the most important thing, right? I mean, I spoke about how you need to own your database, and this is very valuable. Like, let's say you've done a killer Instagram campaign, you've been the best, the most viral page out there, your outlet's trending, and it's working perfectly for you, and you've got 20,000 followers, and everyone's engaging with you. It's amazing. And then one fine day, your page is banned from Instagram for some reason. Someone just put a post out which goes against the policies, or it just gets taken down because of some error, and you've lost your entire channel to communicate with your audience, right? I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not predicting that Instagram is going to go down, but there have been instances where the algorithm has changed, people's organic reach has dropped. It does get difficult sometimes to keep adopting to new trends, to figuring out what's working today on social, what's not, and sometimes restaurant owners themselves manage this, right? So if you can own a database, you have the power to target them anywhere, the platform of your choice, the mode of your choice, and you can even target them back on social media, right? You can upload the customer base on social platforms, run ads specifically to your customers. So you've got all of those options available, but that starts by owning your database. And the way to owning a database, I think, is with a platform like Relo, where you can actually, every time your customer comes in, you're giving in your phone number because you want to enroll in the loyalty program, because you want to get certain benefits or some perks. Now, there's a big difference between getting a loyalty perk versus getting a flat out discount, right? And I think that's what a lot of restaurant owners and cafe owners need to understand, because discounts are fine, okay, it makes me feel like, okay, like anybody else, but a loyalty perk makes me feel special, makes me feel that I'm getting this because this owner really appreciates me for coming here often, right? Because this outlet appreciates me for coming here often. And uh, I know getting a software to do it is difficult, but like if you have someone actually speaking out the way I'm telling you, the way your customers are coming in and the owners themselves making you feel special, making you feel welcome, that always has an upper hand. But at the same time, not every time can you be there at your outlet. Not you can't be there. Suppose you've got multiple outlets, you can't duplicate yourself and place yourself at different places. But what you can do is you can have the basic rules set for any customer who comes in. This is what they get, this is what we offer to them as a loyalty. And then for your loyal customers, you can have a flat out discount, like, oh, I know that, okay, every time I go there, because I've done certain billing with them, because I've gone there 5 times in this 6 months, I'm going to get this special benefit of, let's say, an offer. And incentivize your customers through that channel more than just throwing out a blanket offer to everyone. So owning your database is, I think, takes the upper hand when it comes to marketing. That's what I would always advise, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a retail business, whatever it is. If you own your database, if you've got the means to communicate to them the way you want, and you're not the whims and fancies of any algorithm or anyone else, to decide, how you can reach your customers.
But that's some great insight, Viresh. I think that would also control a lot of your spends and even the people who are coming in, given that there's no direct attribution for restaurant owners to understand X percent has come from your ads, so it will keep your spends also in control. Like
Correct.
speaking of budgets and spends, one question that I really want to ask you is that I've seen Growth Gravy doing an absolutely phenomenal job, and people who are putting in a lot of comments can definitely, we can definitely vouch that you should go check their services out. So they've made a lot of these videos go viral without, massive spends, without very massive campaigns, and you've run some really great campaigns. What do you feel that today, if somebody is just starting off, and this is basically from the purview of a small marketing budget that people start off with when they, start off their restaurant, how F&B brands who are just starting off can make impact during this festive season, even without a bigger budget? You feel that there's any campaign that might stand out for them to help them with the same?
Yeah. So what's currently really working, and it's going directly in the benefit of, small creators or small business owners or small independent, restaurant or cafe owners, is that the platforms actually are rewarding those who are using actual raw content from their, establishment. So if you've got a story of how you're really building your outlet, it need not look fancy, it need not look extremely well plated and well polished, and hiring a fancy team to shoot it, and stuff like that. But the more focus needs to really go on the narrative, right? I mean, yes, having great visuals adds to your brand value, and that should be done when you can. But more important than that is the message that you're trying to communicate, right? The platform does reward you for the message more than the decoration around it. In simple words, it's if you've got your employees who can speak about what what's the inspiration behind doing something, what's the story behind doing something, what's the background that they come from, and how a customer makes them feel special. I think that story has more power to go viral. That story and that narrative has more in it than any fancy commercial which will just go out there and tell people, yes, we are amazing and we do amazing. Rather than that, focus on the real stories, because that's something that is going to go way beyond paid budgets. You may spend like a lakh of rupees on a campaign, which you might even spend 2-3 lakhs to produce it. But let me be honest, sometimes we've had the content that is shot on a phone, but has really crossed crazy numbers without even spending a 1,000 rupee budget on it. So ultimately the goal is to focus on the message they're trying to communicate, focus on the stories. If you have a human face behind the brand, please showcase that. It could be anyone, it could be the reason why you started the brand, it could be a customer that really appreciates you. Have a candid conversation and let their stories really go out there. Let those raw content pieces go out there, and let that be your messaging front, rather than just trying to focus so much on like the production of it. Focus on the message that you're trying to communicate, and how you're different, or what's the real inspiration, the hidden stories that a lot of times when you go in and you speak to the team there, and the way they speak to you, the stories they share. Someone's been there with you for a long time, what is it that motivates them? Some simple things like that, right? I mean, as a customer, I may go there every day, I may interact with that same team member on a day-to-day basis, but I may not know this story. But if I see it on social media, it might really touch the emotional aspect, and I might build a deeper bond with the outlet, with the team that's out there. And ultimately, if you are treated like family, or when you go to a place and you feel like them, you have a connect with that team, that's what's going to bring you back, and that's what's going to keep the loyalty flowing for you. So focus on the real stories. I think the bring out the human nature that's out there, the real stories that can really make that connect for your audience, and then watch that do all the magic for you.
I cannot agree with you more. Like that's one thing that I've been telling my team here at Relo as well. That we are humans at the end of the day, right? And we love stories. Like we have grown up listening to all the kind of fables from our elders, and those are the stories that you the best ads that we remember, like marketer to marketer, the best ads that we remember are the ads with the best stories, with the best narratives, right? So
Correct.
there are few ads that are so iconic that you kind of remember. And for restaurants also, I feel there are a few brands who have literally cracked the code with storytelling,
Absolutely.
and they are doing really well with their socials. And the obviously, when you have a lot of followers on your socials, that also means that you have a bigger or larger audience to tell them about your
Correct.
menu, to tell
Absolutely.
them about where you're opening next, and I
Yes.
think that becomes a great leeway.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. I mean, the engagement that you ultimately get on your platform does in a way showcase, that yes, it's another medium for you ultimately to extend that loyalty base. The only difference, of course, on a social platform is that, like I said, the algorithm sometimes defines it, so that could be a big factor that you've got to be careful about. But yes, we've got to play on all the fields, right? So I think as an outlet, you cannot afford to ignore anything in today's day and age.
I agree with that. So we have a question that is on campaigns only. They are saying that we are a multi-cuisine restaurant, and this is Spirited Shruti who's asking this question. We are a multi-cuisine restaurant. How do you run a campaign on just one, and how do you choose that one dish?
So I think with multi cuisine, you can appeal to everyone, right? You're not necessarily only focused on one. So this becomes a challenge when we run campaigns with outlets which really focus on a specific domain. But with multi cuisine, what happens is you can really pick any story, right? And you've got so much to offer as an outlet. So I think the best advantage that a multi cuisine gets over standalone restaurants is when you're making a plan with, let's say, people of different backgrounds, different age groups, or just a family in general. It's always easier to convince your family, or they are always looking for an option where they'll get to eat everything. And
Correct.
as much as I may not enjoy it, but then we've got to make that option where, yes, okay, I go here, they'll enjoy everything, and everyone will be happy. I'll not listen complaints from a few of them as an organizer of that. So that's the biggest benefit a multi cuisine gets is they get this pull of larger groups by default. It's in the nature of their product. So why not create content around that? Because I don't see a lot of people doing that. I know multi cuisine restaurant owners, they tend to think. I mean, they don't go and make fun of this aspect, right? I mean, you got
Yes.
to bring in that humor and embrace it. Like, yes, we know that a lot of people on their special moments or dates or small dining, they will not come to your place, or they may want to, like, they may fight among themselves to go to this specialty restaurant, that specialty restaurant. But if you've got a big group dining in, this is a place where you can have fun, throw out some offers for bigger groups, because it's easy for a big group to come and make the decision to dine with you, rather than ensuring that everyone in that group is going to like something that a specific specialty restaurant has to offer. So yeah, I think you can definitely leverage humor, you can definitely leverage storytelling, and speak about the fun that families have at your place. If you've got some visuals, I'm sure when you are out there at a restaurant, and if you're not too busy moving around and handling the operations of it, there's so much that you can just hear, and those will be fun stories to speak about. So try to pick those unique story pieces, and just create content around that, because that's what's exactly happening at your place. And if you can showcase and bring that narrative across, I think that will really help you win the long term game.
Yeah, and I agree with what you said, right? Like make fun of yourself, make it a little, have make it have a personality of sorts. Because the way we also search for restaurants has become very different when you dine in, especially, right? You go to district, you find, okay, fine, this is offering a deal or not. What are the best restaurants there? And then you go back to Instagram to check, acha, interior is that match the pictures? How do the videos look? And when if you see content that has personality, something that's humorous, something that's edgy, you're like, oh, seems like people know, seems like a great place. People know how to create content. First thing, तो they'll always say कि क्या digital marketing agency तो क्या काम कर रही है इनकी.
Correct.
But
Yeah,
the next bit will be like it sounds like a good place to hang out. People are having fun. And
absolutely.
I feel on the same grounds, what you said around is keep it also makes a lot of difference of uh, how you see people, like the snippets that you capture of people, and from that people only stems a lot of user generated content, right? And I know that Growth Gravy has been really big on that. You've emphasized on storytelling, having those micro creators and user generated content. How fast, how soon, how restaurant owners can start creating that user generated content is something that we'd love to learn from you.
Sure. So, getting user-generated content, I think, is difficult from actual customers who are coming in there and dining, paying, moving out. But what you can do to incentivize this is just identify people who are not exactly influencers, right? They are micro creators, or they just create content because they love doing that. They love speaking about new places on their Instagram. They may just have 1,000 followers. They may have 2,000 followers, but they have a decent people who are engaging with that content. Like you've got 5, 6, or 10 of their friends always commenting, different people talking about different content. So spot people like that and host them at your outlet. Give them complimentary dining experience, and let them create content around it. Tell them to play around with it. Give them some basic deliverables. Say that this is on the house, we would love for you to come and try it. Keep it very conversational, very organic, and let them come in and create the content. Now I know out of maybe 20, 30 people that you will host like this, maybe 20 may not be as great. You may not love the content as much. But even if 10 out of those 30 have really made remarkable content pieces for your business, I think that's a big plus on an investment, because otherwise to create 10 good pieces of content for you would really professionally cost you way more than this. And also what you're doing along the way is, let's say you host these 30 people on 15 days or 10 days period. What's happening is your space is also getting utilized in your outlet. The space which otherwise would have gone empty, you've got someone out there who's creating content. So that's naturally creating that mood for the others to look and say that, oh wow, this is a place where people love. They come, they take pictures. It's striking ideas instantly while I'm watching. It's that simple example that when you're sitting in a restaurant and you see some sizzler moving around the whole outlet, right? And then you're suddenly tempted that why didn't I order that sizzler? And
Happens with
it's
me
a
every
classic
time.
case that FOMO, that I now need it because I've seen it and I have not ordered it. So the same concept applies with this. When you've got these micro creators coming in creating content for you, as long as they don't move things too much around, I think you should not be like, you should embrace that and you should let them do it, because they may do things which you've not even thought about, right? Your marketing teams have not even thought about. And I think that's really worked for us. For one of the case studies that we work with a cafe here in Panjim in Goa. It was located on one of the internal lanes, and it was very difficult for people to otherwise get to know about this outlet. uh, I think we've hosted about 100 such small micro creators. Mix. I mean, some of them may be influencers, some of them will be great. They've come in, they've dined, they've experienced it, they've spoken about it, and within a short period of time, everybody knew about this cafe. And when I speak to people about it, they were like, "How did this cafe just get so popular? It was in this internal lane, which has no other commercial establishment at all." Right, the whole lane has not a single commercial establishment, not even a hotel. It's completely residential, and it's worked. So I think this is a really untapped opportunity for cafe owners, for restaurant owners. Go out there. I know you want to get in the bloggers with 50,000 plus followers and 1 lakh plus followers, but when you're going to host them, they're going to ask you their commercial fees, and ultimately then the ROI equation completely changes for you. I'm not saying that doesn't help, but it's very different strategy. And hosting, let's say, 50 micro creators, or even if you can host 10 in a month, do that on an ongoing basis, because you get an opportunity to even let them. So treat them like your food tasting team, which will come in and give you feedback, right? I mean, some may like it, some may not like it. They'll come and be honest about it. So you focus yourself about their reactions. You need not go and speak to them too much, because that's a little bit, sometimes it gets into your space, and people don't love that. But obviously, talk about a little bit about what your specials are, what you're going to offer to them, and take their feedback. And that's really going to that could be a game changer for you itself. Your tasting menus could be sorted. You've got a regular group of 100 people every year coming to your outlets to give you that collective feedback and
So
also
the
talk about
one,
you. So UGC
so
is
one
friendly.
controversial question: these micro influencers or bigger influencers?
I think you got to do both sometimes. Sometimes the bigger influencers will help position you well, and will give you some folks who can really create good content can make some amazing content for you, because those guys have really showcased and they've made their mark. They've got their audience. They've created a success story for themselves that you can be a part of. That you can work with the commercials, get them involved. If you've got a product which they would be interested to try out without any commercials, nothing like it, because that's the best thing that you can earn. But otherwise, feel free to tap into both of these strategies, because it's got both have got a good long term thought. So you got to treat one as your tasting team, and you got to treat one as like your folks who will probably help you with their positioning. So yeah, but of course, you can't keep posting 30, 40 people who are
Correct.
influencers every month. It gets operationally hectic, it gets financially expensive. So you got to find a good balance. You got to involve some creators every month. You got to involve some micro, folks out there who just got 1,000 followers. But more importantly, they've got real people engaging with them. And so then what happens is when they create content, it doesn't sound like a hosted content. It sounds more like I just went there and I created something on my own, and I so you're allowing UGC content to speak about you. So that's the gist of that.
Got it. And in the interest of time, just one final question. I think that's one thing that we've been seeing with a lot of brands that we've also been working around, right? They get the maximum spikes during the festive season, and once the season is over, I think those are the most lowest of the lows that restaurants experience. The most brands that have been doing maybe well during the festive season, they kind of disappear. What are the smartest post-festival activities that you think that restaurants should do this festive season to retain momentum and keep their sales steady for the entire month?
So the baseline is, if you are able to capture the info of all the guests who are coming into your outlet, you can curate something special for them in your periods of absolute silence, or in the periods of lull, as you would like call it. And that's when you deploy your discounts, rather than discounting on a period which is a festive time. Put in what you would do as a tasting for, let's say, the next month. Put it in that time where you know that otherwise you're not going to have a good footfall. Capitalize on reaching out to your customers who maybe not come to you, who've not come to you in that festive season, but you know that they've come to you like 2 months back, and tap into that data, and you can target that audience back. So use, like, it's all about data, right? Eventually, if your decisions are driven by smart data, I think those are going to be well responded to, versus just making calls and coming up with strategies which you think may be right, but ultimately data speaks louder. So if you can tap into those metrics, if you can make, I mean, I'm sure even as an as a loyalty program, a lot of outlets, they may be a part of the system, but they are probably not reaping the best benefits out of it, right? I am personally, I keep getting, every time I visit an outlet with Relo, and I get the update of my points, what the perks are. But I know that there's so much that can be done even within that, right? So appoint for your for your outlet, appoint a specific guest relations manager or a loyalty manager whose only focus and attention is to bring these customers back, and look in and dig themselves in the data, figure out why they're coming, why they're not coming, send in feedback to the guests who come in, collect that, because that also helps you, right? I mean, rather than getting your negative feedback on Google, if you can use the your customer database to get in the feedback first to you, that's like saving yourself from getting
Correct.
in a difficult position on your platform. So yeah.
Crazy. And in the interest of time, I know that we have taken up more than what we have planned. So it's already 54 minutes. We are already 54 minutes in. I have a quick rapid fire for you.
Yeah.
And people, if you have any questions, please drop in now. Viresh is kind enough to give us 5 more minutes. So he'll be answering all your questions there. And please put in your questions here. Rahul Mishra, we did ask everybody how which language are they comfortable with. They all prompted us that they're comfortable with English. That is why we kept the entire session in English. But yeah, we will keep that into account. But getting back to any of the questions that you have, please do drop in. And Viresh, for you, my rapid fire would be you just have to give me one word answers.
Sure.
The most underrated festival marketing move. Great. One thing restaurants should stop doing this festive season.
Discounts.
Great. Love the answer. A campaign you wish you had done yourself. This could be a little more than a word, though.
Campaign. Uh, I would say give a free product to everyone that comes in the, like first 10 customers that walk into my outlet. Give them a free product which may not be very expensive, but it would be something to just thank them for being the first 10 of the day.
I feel that that would actually induce a lot of inner circle vibes for all of those
Yeah.
people. Yeah, that's crazy, Viresh. Thank you so much for spending so much time with us. I
Pleasure.
hope that you had as much fun as I did.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Crazy. For folks who've not been able, who've joined in a little late, this is Viresh. Viresh owns a digital marketing agency which is called as Growth Gravy. They're not just into digital marketing, but it's the entire growth engine for your restaurant. If you have any, requests or any sort of ask or quotes from them, if you want to talk to them, you can definitely drop them a DM. You can drop Viresh a DM. Viresh is by the same name, Viresh Vazirani on if we can drop in people if you can my team at Relo if you guys can drop in the link Instagram handles and LinkedIn handles of Viresh on the chat box so people can access it. And yeah, Viresh, it's been lovely speaking with you. Looking forward to more such conversations in the future.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Chanika. Thanks to
Perfect.
the team at Relo, and had pleasure doing this live with you guys.
Cool. First of the many, Viresh. First of the many.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a lovely